Hey Oz, what movie we watching this week?
Oh, movie marriage was a little tricky this month, but I think I've got a good one for us. I've got a movie marriage of Stuck on You, Meet the Parents,
Okay.
and Donnie Darko. This week, we've got 1988's Ivan Reitman film, Twins.
Stuck
Mike.
on You.
Yeah, well, they're twins that
Yeah.
look nothing alike. And Meet the Parents, which was the main plot of the movie, and then the subplot dealt with a jet engine. So Donnie Darko's the
There
only
you go.
one I could think of
Yep.
that had a jet engine in it. Welcome back to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the weekly podcast where we take a monthly theme and bring daily movies. I don't know. I feel like we're hitting every scale of measuring time here. The weekly podcast where we take a monthly theme. No, this week we are up on episode 56, and I am one of your hosts, Oz.
I am Curtis.
And we are here to talk about the aforementioned Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito vehicle, Twins.
Twins.
Yeah, my brain is still waking up from the nap that I took a little bit earlier. So
He's my twin.
He's my brother. He's my twin brother.
Twin powers.
Oh man, you gotta love these like these high concept 80s I was reading something, I don't remember where, and it doesn't matter. But it was like, and it makes sense. Like there was the second half of the 80s was full of like extremely detailed movie pitches that can be summed up in like a sentence or two. And it's like stuff like this where I have a movie idea where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito are twins, and like Universal or Paramount's like sold. Or picture this: Arnold Schwarzenegger as a kindergarten teacher, sold. And it's like it's true. Like you've got all of these like your average police officer out of town, is dealing with terrorism in L.A. Sold.
Mm-hmm.
A Detroit cop goes to Beverly Hills. Sold. It's like we just don't have those like high profile actors and actresses in these like, I won't call them lowbrow because they're not. Like there is a high budget film.
Yeah.
But just the throwing themselves out there and everything is now awards fodder and but honestly, I think a lot of it is because there's no home media anymore. There's no rental residuals and DVD sales, and it's like everything goes to streaming.
It's all streaming these days.
Yeah. All the Netflixes and Spotifys.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into the characters, we do want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Don S. and Melissa L. Thank you once again for your patronage. You've heard your name 5 times this month.
Yes.
Bonus time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you will hear it 5 times. We got one more.
Keep the
bonus
piggy
time.
banks full.
That's right. Cha-ching. So, all right, Twins. I've already spoiled a little bit of the actors in this movie. Of 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger month. Shocking, he's in it.
No,
didn't see that coming. But who are our characters in this heartfelt romp?
Our characters, the two main characters, are twin brothers, Julius Benedict and Vincent Benedict, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
I just thought of a really, really stupid joke. Like, so does that mean that their mother had to produce 2 eggs Benedict?
Hi-yo!
So before they were named, they were the eggs Benedict.
I don't know if it was intentional or not, but Sam Jackson and John Travolta's characters in Pulp Fiction
are Julius and Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. With Tarantino, it wouldn't shock me if it was completely on purpose.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't shock me at all.
But also, I could also easily see him forgetting that Jules and Vincent were in this movie, and like just this Rolodex of movie
like
knowledge in his head.
His subconscious just spit those names out.
Yeah, something said Julius and Vincent are a good pair, and he didn't know why.
Also, those characters separated at birth.
Yes.
It's not explicitly in Pulp Fiction, but it's implied.
that thread of Pulp Fiction plot is actually a dark universe retelling of Twins. If Jules and Vincent were hitmen instead.
It's the Snyder cut.
and somehow like John Travolta ends up being like the genetic cast off of that twin makeup. like it's Sam Jackson who's the perfection. And Kelly Preston is still involved.
Speaking of Kelly Preston, Oz, we have another set of twins in this movie.
Were they twin sisters?
I think they were twin sisters. I think they were.
Why not?
Yeah. We got Marnie Mason, played by Kelly Preston, and Linda Mason, played by Chloe Webb of Sid and Nancy fame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Marnie.
Chloe is a kind of an on-again, off-again girlfriend of Vincent's. And
I think she believes she's always on. It's his choice that she's on and off.
Yes. So the Linda character on again, off again with Vincent, and then Marnie ends up taking a liking to Julius. As we'll get into.
Like seriously, how is Marnie the single twin?
I don't know. There's something magnetic about Chloe Webb, I guess.
I guess so.
We have their Julius and Vincent's mother, Mary Ann Benedict, spoiler alert, as played by Bonnie Bartlett and also by Heather Graham, a very, very young Heather Graham.
Yeah, I won't say I even knew it, but when we were watching it there, the pre-credit stuff, and I'm like, that's Roller Girl out there.
That's Roller Girl. Yep.
And which... well, never mind. This is a PG podcast.
Enough said right there.
Because Jules and Vincent had, 6 fathers?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So.
Okay, I can see where that's going. Moving on. David Caruso is in this movie. Because why not? David Caruso plays like sleazy parking attendant.
Yeah.
We got a character named Beetroot McKinley. played by Trey Wilson, also who I believe was in was it Raising Arizona? I think he was in that as well.
Yeah, it's Beetroot. Like that's such that's like an 80s jobber wrestler name.
It is. Already in the ring, Beetroot McKinley.
Right. Now, who was oh no, it was in No Holds Barred. It wasn't a real wrestler where there was just this like this jobber guy, and he's just like mouth is just chock full of chewing tobacco, just slobber everywhere. Yeah. Oh, it's gross. We'll get to that when we get to the wrestlers in movies month.
There you go. Got a couple others. We have Mr. Webster, played by the always great Marshall Bell.
Yeah.
There's a couple others. We get other like the professor who was with Julius, and
there's
like other scientists. And then I'll make one last character reference here. As we have the Klain brothers / cousins, one of whom is Svenel Thorson.
Yep. He made another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie appearance.
Yes. Possible spoiler for those who are really doing the digging for next week's. Svenel Thorson appears in 4 of the 5 movies we're doing this month. So this was almost Svenel Thorson.
Right. It's like he's made a career of being beaten up by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, so those are the characters. How about the plots of 1988's Twins?
Yeah, we start pre-credits with a little historical backstory. We know it is because it's like almost sepia toned,
fuzzy frame.
Yeah, it's not found footage, but somehow they still try to make it look old. And so we find out here that there's a science experiment being done, that a group of scientists, a team of scientists, are trying to create a genetically perfect human being. And they start with this like industrial milkshake looking machine. I think
I saw one of those at Steak and Shake last time.
where they are to put it politely, they're combining the DNA of 6 fathers.
Yes.
Like like, what kind of blizzard is that?
And a cherry on top. We'll top that off. Yeah.
Yeah, they are combining the DNA of 6 fathers to fertilize Heather Graham.
Now, how does that work? Because technically only one little guy gets in there.
Well, I don't know. I guess you shake hard enough, you can mix water. You know, you can make a vinaigrette. So oil and water can be mixed with enough force. I'm sure you can do that. At the molecular level, they've combined the DNA for one swimmer.
There's 6 little guys in there.
But what they didn't anticipate was that the embryo was going to split and twins were born.
And therefore our movie.
Yes, and so the mother, because of basically it was a failed experiment, but yet it wasn't because she was fertilized and impregnated. They told the mother, Mary Ann Benedict, that that they named the twins that the perfect genetic twin died at birth, and then made no mention of the secondary twin. So they actually like. Ethics was not in this laboratory.
No. There was no ethics at all involved in this study.
So they send a heartbroken mother off who thinks she's lost a child, and then they take that child and keep him on like a deserted Pacific island.
Yep.
And then they take the other cast off newborn child, and put him in an orphanage.
Yeah.
But we do get this cute, I guess. They basically take a 2-month-old baby and a newborn and set them next to each other. So you know from the start that Julius is the giant perfect child. And Vincent already gets a kick out of making his brother miserable.
Was it just me, Oz, or was it? And I'm gonna pay for this one in the afterlife. But
we've got front row seats.
The Danny DeVito baby, was it just me, or was he clearly also the uglier baby?
He was the uglier baby. Yeah, he was definitely the uglier baby. And I like the little scene where they clearly out-frame, grab the Vincent baby's leg and make him kick the other baby. Yeah. Complete with, I don't even know if it was in the movie, but in my mind, complete with a whip crack sound. That's, I replaying it in my head right now. That's what I hear is a whip crack as that baby kicks the giant baby in the ankle, which makes him cry, and then the little smirk on
the whip master.
Oh, so yeah, that's our kind of pre-credits, whatever. Vincent's been placed in an orphanage and has been led to believe that his mother just abandoned him.
What an awful childhood.
They would have almost been better off to actually just expel the experiment, and instead they're, you've got a mother going off thinking her child has died at birth, and you've got one child off, believing that his mother abandoned him.
Abandoned him, yeah.
It's and then you got the other one that's growing up in Utopia. So it's
on Krakoa with the other mutants.
Exactly. And so, they, again, all this little backstory, Vincent is he's just they already cast him as the genetic cast-off, which I guess leads to believe that if you are genetically bad, that there's no way you could be good by your surroundings.
Yeah.
He's seducing a nun at 12.
Yeah. It's like 300 where they just chuck the inferior children off the cliff.
Yeah, and he escapes from the orphanage, and it's and he's just basically grows up to be Danny DeVito as a small-time criminal.
Yeah.
It's just this roundabout way to say, ha-ha, it's Danny DeVito. But like I said, meanwhile, you got Julius, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. He's raised in the South Pacific by a professor, and he's brilliant. And it's everything. He's everything Vincent is not. He's book smart with no life skills at all. And of course, Vincent is
massive,
is a survivor.
Muscular, a physical and mental specimen.
Yeah, and so it is what it is. So it's basically this somewhat long, drawn out, contrived way to say these are our twins. As they drop the title in there with 2 eyes, and so both twins believe that their mother died during childbirth. So again, both kids think mom's dead. Mom thinks kid's dead. Mom doesn't know about second kid. where could this is shaping up to be a tip-top comedy.
Sounds hilarious to me.
The premise of this has got me in stitches. But the twins also
call it ethics with two eyes.
Yeah, and neither twin knows of each other. So Julius apparently gets Raumspringer on his 35th birthday, and he's allowed to go out into the world to do his own thing because the professor finally, 35 years in, tells him he has a brother. I have a twin brother.
I have a brother,
and he just automatically assumes he's going to be just like him, and because again, his knowledge of twins is he's going to be just like me. I wonder what he's doing right now.
He's probably watching Mr. Belvedere.
He's very excited to go track down Vincent in the world, and he does. He finds his brother in jail. Vincent, again, we've seen fun little things where like he's the object of affection of some marital affair.
Yep.
Rolls off the roof. Like he's a survivor.
That's what he does. He's like a cockroach.
He really is. He
just scuttles from place to place, from bed to bed, from job to job.
Yeah, he reminds me of like the human embodiment of like Nick the Fox from Zootopia.
Okay.
like just charming and, but at the same time, like conniving and manipulative and up to no good. And so, Julius eventually tracks Vincent down to jail because Vincent just has this knack for ignoring parking tickets. He gets a parking ticket and just nope, and rips it in half and drops it in the road. And then when he finally gets stopped, he gets busted for all of these parking tickets and an expired license. And again, we get the Julius not knowing how this works. And so he's there to meet his brother, Vincent, and doesn't believe who he sees. And of course, he just starts talking on the other side of the soundproof glass. And it's just this fun little, I mean, all these fun little things. There's so many little things here. I keep sticking to plot. Like Julius on his first airplane ride ever. The first time he's ever heard music like this. He's listening
yak at the yak. Yak at the yak.
Don't talk back. I will give props to Schwarzenegger, though. I mean, he understood how Hollywood was using him.
Yes.
And when given the opportunity to try something different, opted to go in this direction. And he was in good hands. I mean, Ivan Reitman is a successful comedy director. He wasn't trying some little indie film to break the stagnation of just being muscle bound. Like he was given a Hollywood shot.
Well, and speaking of that shot here, Oz, he and Reitman and DeVito, like the studio couldn't come up with like the money to pay all their full salaries, so they all agreed to take a cut of the profits.
Smart move.
And I guess that Twins was the most profitable movie that Schwarzenegger ever did.
Yeah, I think I did read that, and he had made a comment about this was like the smartest. The smartest decision he had ever made professionally. I think he netted like $35 million or something like that. It was, the box office I'm looking at it right now is $216 million on an $18 million budget. Yeah. So all three of them cleaned up on this.
Yeah, they did,
and good for them because it wouldn't have been made without it. And so I mean, and of course, we see a lot more of that now. Actors taking the back end because of betting on yourself, opportunities like this one. And they really are. I don't think back in the 80s they were as common to take, back end percentage points, but I know non-actors did. Like I know George Lucas did a lot of that with Star Wars. Don't pay me now, pay me in merchandising.
Well, that was his whole thing too, though.
That was.
That was Lucas's universe.
Yeah, but you didn't see that from the on-screen talent.
Correct.
It was, we're going to keep these guys under contract so we know exactly what we're paying them. So Julius agrees to bail Vincent out. Vincent is come on. If Arnold Schwarzenegger walked in to, why would Danny DeVito believe that they're really twins? But again, being the survivor and resourceful man he is, he'll play along to get bailed out.
Yeah, and anything to get out of there, yeah.
And that's exactly what he does. He gets himself bailed out and then, just takes off. He took advantage of him. You can't get rid of Julius that quickly though, because this is where we see Vincent getting caught up by the Klain brothers.
The Klain brothers.
Yeah,
Sven Thorson.
Yeah. Oh, not yet. He doesn't show up until the bar. But yeah, Julius or Vincent has a real rough time borrowing money and not paying it back on time. And so that's what he's done to the Klain brothers, the loan sharks. He owns about $20,000 to them, and they come to collect. And as loan sharks do, if you can't pay up, you're going to pay with appendages or your life or something like that. Well, lucky for Vincent, Julius shows up because we still can't have an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie without him being physical.
Oh, you got to have a couple of fight scenes in there, right, Oz?
And here's one of them. Comes in, and there's like three of them there, and Julie, and they're going. It shouldn't be funny, but these three guys are like they're beating up Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't be funny, but they're tossing him around, and DeVito's. I mean, he's taking it, and I'm sure finding. We've talked before how hard it is to find stuntmen for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yep. It's probably hard finding a stuntman for Danny DeVito, too. That's why you don't cast him in things that require stunts. But here, he's getting tossed around a little bit. And Vince or Julia, I'm going to get those two, their names butchered all show here. Julia shows up and takes out the Klain brothers. And so, but Vincent doesn't waste the opportunity to talk smack to them, knowing that he's got his brother as backup. And Julius, this is the first time Julius gets on his three-step approach to calling bluffs or whatever. Yeah.
It's the first step of the crisis situation.
I read it in a book. And it's like it's like. Apparently it works because it confuses them every time.
It doesn't work because it's effective. It works just because people are like, "What are you talking about?"
They're like, "I don't what."
It just stops them in their tracks.
So Julius stops the Klain brother, Morris Klain. Vincent then is like, "Hey, this guy's not so bad to have around," and this is where we meet the ladies. And they are twins. It does say I do have it in my notes that Linda and Marnie are twins. Again, identical
twins.
So this is where we meet Linda. They're pulling up along the road, and but yeah. So Linda is always believed to be the only girl for Vincent, and he tells her so. You're my only girl. And she's a little skeptical, but she loves him. Even Marnie doesn't know what she sees in him, but Marnie sees something. Marnie sees a lot of something in Julius.
And we also see a lot of Marnie's legs during this movie.
We do. And I'll admit, I remember watching this and finding her very pretty, but I was still young enough that I didn't fully grasp what I was seeing.
Yeah.
There's the hotel scene where she's crawling on the bed and Julius is on the floor. And she's in her little nightie and looking all seductive, whatever. And it wasn't until my wife and I watched it this week that like her cheeks are out, and never noticed it before. All the time, because I always seen this movie so much younger that I never really paid. I'm like, there's a lot going on there. So they all go out to dinner. Vincent shows Julius some document he stole from the orphanage. Hey, mom's still alive. And which Julius, he was just out because he had no family and he was out to find his brother, who he didn't know about for 35 years. Now he gets the double whammy that mom's alive. And so, meanwhile, there's this subplot, and it's easy to skip over, where Vincent and Caruso have this...
David Caruso.
Vincent and David Caruso have this thing going on where... David Caruso, if a nice car comes into the parking garage, he'll call Vincent, and Vincent will come and basically hawk the car.
Take it through chop shop, sell it for
parts. Well, he does this with a Cadillac, and so it has this prototype jet engine or something. And so before we get to that, I'm rambling here, but. Mom's alive. Let's go on a road trip to go find mom.
Let's find mom.
We
have this multi-million-dollar prototype jet engine in the trunk of this Cadillac.
Yeah, so they're gonna go find mom because Vincent realizes he's been lied to. Julius kind of realizes he's been lied to about Vincent. So they come together like, maybe mom's been lied to also. Like, because Vincent's like, why would mom give me up? And so they're gonna go figure out what's going on. So they go and track down one of the 6 fathers on the document because apparently they all have paternal rights, yes. I guess.
Well, at one point, I think Julius like sprints to this guy's house because he never shows up in a car. Right. But he shows up and he's just covered in sweat. He's got like sweaty pits, sweaty bag.
And he's probably he's in this like gigantic sports coat. Yeah. Like even on Schwarzenegger, it's like that's a huge sports coat. Like hangs down to his like short hems but yeah, so they track this guy down, and find out that your mom she's in New Mexico. Again, he doesn't believe him either because he's like, I won't say he's forgotten about the experiment.
It's been so long, and they clearly kind of covered it up too.
Yeah, they've covered it up, so he's going to play dumb. Well, Julius has the picture. He's like, here's hologram and here's you. And
here's Roller Girl.
and calls him out, so he owns up to it and points her in the direction of New Mexico. Well, Vincent's car's not going to get him there, and this is where David Caruso comes in. Hey, this new caddy rolled in, takes the caddy, and that's where they find in the trunk of the Cadillac, like you said, this like prototype, jet engine. And this was supposed to be delivered to Beetroot McKinley.
There's Beetroot.
Because Beetroot has basically stolen it too. He's had this jet engine stolen, and if you deliver it to me in Houston, I'll give you $5 million. And so Vincent has a plan. We are going to be the delivery men. So
in the meantime, Vincent, there was a cassette that was left in the player in the car.
Oh yeah,
that had instructions for the guy who was supposed to be the delivery man, like the actual transporter.
Yeah, Mr. Webster.
Mr. Webster.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Vincent gets all the info. He makes contact with Beetroot, and he's like, "Well, I'm not Mr. Webster, but I'm going to deliver it for you."
Yeah, I forgot about that little mulligan there that kept the plot moving. Oh, thankfully, this magical tape has been left in the tape deck with explicit instructions. Explicit instructions on what to do. It's like most movies have that like harbinger that comes in and tells you all the backstory before he gets ice. Like you see in a horror film. This has just got the magical cassette.
Well, the magical cassette is the magical exposition, whereas last week with The Running Man, we just had the title card at the front.
That's true. That's true. We had the title. Yeah, I prefer a title card. That would have been.
Yeah,
it would have been a little more awkward to stop the movie right now and then provide like on-screen text,
and then it just comes up. This vehicle was intended for Beetroot McKinley in Houston, Texas.
It is still in that like arcade font that they use in The Running Man. And so Mr. Webster, who has a very strict "if you've seen my face, you must die" policy, yet I mean he's an effective hitman, but he's not intimidating at all.
No.
So again, Vincent plan is foolproof. We're just hit Houston on the way to New Mexico from LA.
Yeah. I want to consult a road atlas there.
We'll get the $5 million and I'll pay off my debts. It's fine. He was going to go by himself, but this is where Joyous, Linda, and Marnie turn it into a road comedy. And so we're going to head to find Dr. Travern in New Mexico. And Webster, Mr. Webster is on to Vincent. So now it's the chase has begun.
Yeah,
and we
turn into a road trip here for a little while.
We really do. And so, because Webster ends up in Vincent's apartment, and that's where he kind of figures out the plan because magical papers are left.
Well, and the Klain brothers showed up.
Yeah, I was going to say the Klain brothers show up, and he shoots 2 of them in the leg. Just basically, Vincent's mind, leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so apparently, Vincent has a GPS tracker on his body because because not only does Mr. Webster know where he's going, but he knows the route he's taking. And the Klain brothers also know the route being taken.
And the Klain brothers know what bar that they're going to stop at.
Exactly. That's like, it's like he's been embedded. You know what? I bet Schwarzenegger still has that tracking device in his arm from last week. And so that's probably it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Mick Fleetwood is there too.
They've tapped into the satellite link. Everybody, like, there's a cutscene where the Klain brothers are watching Running Man, and then they take the code that Weiss was spitting out, and they hack into the satellite.
There you go.
Feed, and then they can track. They can, yeah. Julius and Julius is the same. He's the butcher of Bakersfield. That's. Yeah, it would be. Oh, that would be great if Schwarzenegger was one character throughout all the 80s. Like,
Ben Richards,
Conan, the butcher of Bakersfield. That would be a fun movie if you could turn back and like if Schwarzenegger played like how James Bond is the same character through all of them.
Yeah.
Only flipped, and instead of having different actors playing one character, just have Schwarzenegger playing different characters, but it's the same plot line. Like all the memories of previous films are still embedded. So he's quite the time traveler as he's headed to the future, but then he's back in like New Mexico. That would be fun. It's all stored in the hard drive in the T-800. And so, let me find my notes here.
That was quite a tangent we just took.
Yeah. We end up in New Mexico, and this is where the truth is revealed to both of them. That Joyous is the result of the best genes, and Vincent is the useless genetic material. Yeah, like, this doctor pulls no punches.
No,
like,
not exactly good bedside manner here.
No, like like I would understand if like during the experiment you're like, oh, that's the good baby and that's the genetic cast-off baby. Yeah. But these are full-fledged human adults now that apparently are still the same age. Like Dana DeVito's supposedly 35.
Yeah. I actually took I took that a quote that this guy said just because it was like, ooh, just kind of like you. That like, ooh.
I know, it hurts.
All the purity and strength went into Julius. All of the crud you see in the mirror every morning went into you, Vincent. Like ooh.
I know. And then cut to DeVito, who looks like all the useless crud. Yeah. Like they did a good job making him look the part, but you feel awful for him.
Greasy ponytail he has.
Yeah, you just feel terrible for him because it's like, ouch. Like, I know he's not necessarily a good guy, but man, that hurts. And so this is where I kind of got my plot line mixed up a little earlier. They tracked down one doctor to get tipped off to this doctor. Yeah. This is the doctor that is like, where Julius shows him the picture. This is hologram and this is you. And so this is where he's like, your mom's in Santa Fe. She lives on an art colony. Go. Yeah. And I'm like, so they've been tracking Mom, completely lost touch with where Vincent is. We just stick him in an orphanage and whatever happens, happens. Mm-hmm. We know where Julius has been because we've raised him for 35 years, but they've been keeping an eye on Mom despite the fact they've been keeping her in the dark. And so Julius, he's really playing cheerleader to Vincent, trying to get him back. Because again, he just got roasted by this doctor.
We need to find the mama.
We got. I know, these 35-year-old man who didn't even know he had a mom just goes straight to mama.
Mama, we need to find the mama. Be a family.
We need to finish our journey. So back on the road, we head to Santa Fe.
We get I gotta pause you just for a second. We get that fun little scene where they go shopping together.
Oh yeah.
they buy matching oversized 80s suits.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Like the khaki suits and they sling the jackets over their shoulders at the same time.
Yeah, they're well timed because they're twins. They're twins. Everything they do is in unison.
It's all in sync.
even cuts back to the beginning of the movie where they're standing across the street from like Grauman's Chinese Theater, and they just accidentally happen to be standing on the same street corner, and they rub their right ears at the same time, and I'm like, oh, good Lord. Like, I know they're twins. I've seen the trailer. Like, it's so ham-fisted at times to be like, see? This apparently goes with Ivan Reitman must not have ever met a pair of twins before.
Yeah.
And the writers as well, because they're like, well, if they're twins, they clearly do everything identical
they're
at the
same
exact time.
person.
Yeah. And so, I did forget about the shopping scene.
Not me!
Born to be bad.
That's right. That's right. When he's at the gas station, like shirtless.
Yeah.
What's that?
So where Vincent's like, were you stung?
Yeah.
It's like the first time he's seen Julius with a shirt off, and you can almost feel. Yeah, it's like your muscles have muscles. You can almost see DeVito just ad-libbing all.
Oh
of
yeah,
this.
it wouldn't surprise me if that was
not
just,
at all.
Just all ad-lib,
not at all. He's such a gem. And so they stop at a bar on the way to Santa Fe because they got to dance.
Yeah, they got to.
We got.
Well, and it's Julius's first date. His first ever
That's
date.
true. Yeah, it's his first date with Marnie. And I don't think Julius had anything to worry about. Like, Vincent's like, she likes you, and you think so?
You really think so?
It's like, oh my gosh. Like, she might as well have had a shirt on that said, I'm with him. Like, I'm with stupid.
I'm hot for him.
Right. Trophy wife. Like, there was nothing that was going to stand in her way of getting with Julius. Even when like Vincent and Julius are sharing one hotel room and Linda and Marty are in the other one, and Vincent's like, well, I'm going next door. And like Vincent's no more outside the door and it closes, knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Oh, Vincent, I must have forgotten something. Oh no, it's Marty. She's probably been standing outside the door waiting for Vincent to leave for a few minutes.
Just pacing back and forth.
Like, come on, Vincent.
Come on, I got my bucket of ice here.
Right. I want to see if he's got PG podcast.
Yeah, there we
go. And so the Klain brothers end up at the same like country western bar in on the way to Santa Fe because they just knew that's where he was going.
Not before a sweet dance sequence.
Oh no, we got a sweet dance sequence complete with like pelvic thrusts.
Yes. Dual in sync pelvic thrusts.
Right. And the Klain brothers show up, and there's more of them now.
Yeah, they were their cousins.
Yeah, they got Sven there this time, and they because because Vincent and Jules they go to the bathroom. And of course they pee at the same time and they flush at the same time. Like they're so in sync, these two. And it's always bothered me. When they're talking, after they wash their hands, there's a beer bottle on top of the left, like, towel dispenser.
Okay.
And then they cut to, I think, a close-up of Vincent, and when they cut back, that beer bottle is now on the top of the right towel dispenser.
Oh, how dare they!
It has bothered me since the first time I've seen this movie.
Oh.
I called it out when we were watching it the other night. Like, that scene goes, and I go, watch this. And she goes, what? I go, that beer bottle's going to move. It's just...
I got to put in a letter to the estate of Ivan Reitman.
Yeah, right. It just, I don't know. I mean, I remember it bothering me from being young. And so, they do their bar thing, and the Klain brothers still can't beat them.
Nope.
And they run away, and they have their hotel night, and they end up at the art colony in Santa Fe. And a gardener informs them, nope, your mother's died. Like, they were excited, like they got in and they're like, where's your mother? And they thought for sure it was that little old lady over there painting. And like, even Mama, really, really cute scene though. Really cute scene in the hotel the night before they go try and find Mom, where Vincent he's working hard because he wants to impress his mom.
Yep, he's doing crunches.
And it's like, I mean, you almost see Linda melt. Like, she's like, this is so sweet. Like, you kind of act like you have got no emotion and no feelings, but you really want to impress your mother. Like it was a touching, cute scene.
Well,
it really was.
He just wants to be loved.
Of course he does.
But for 35 years he's he thinks he's been abandoned. You know, he lives this very, very shallow life, and he pushes people away when they try to get close.
Right.
I mean, he clearly,
including Linda, who loves him.
He clearly has been doing that to Linda. He's just been stringing her along because he's afraid of commitment to her.
She even makes some comment about when we get back, we should move in together. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, dude, like, this is the love you've been looking for. It's just not from the right person. And so, the gardener's like, no, she's died.
She did.
She's gone. And so they leave heartbroken, and we find out like immediately that the gardener that broke the news was actually her. Mm-hmm. She thought they were impersonating her sons to try to like steal the land of the art colony.
Yeah. So apparently, like the insurance company's been after him, or it was like real estate. That's right. Real estate developers were trying to get the land.
So she's like, they're pulling out all the stops. But she's like, I only had one son. I don't have twins. Like she knew of the one that died, but this is like, this is a new low even for them. So that's kind of wraps up that main plot of the movie, and now it's all onto the subplot. Vincent is just hot. Like they hit Santa Fe I had it backwards. They hit Santa Fe on the way to Houston to get the money. Vincent is like, I'm done. Everything I've ever wanted in life is gone. I'm done with all of you. And he just abandons them on the road.
Yeah, just leaves them at a roadside stop.
Just in New Mexico. And like, I'm out of here. I'm taking this. I'm going to get the money. It's all mine. I'm done with you guys. I'm taking this to Beetroot. And so Julius, of course, chases him down. He doesn't have the speed of the T-1000, so he doesn't get to chase him all the way down. But he does have something that hadn't been tapped into yet. He has telepathy.
Twin powers.
Yeah, Julius apparently has telepathy. He can feel Vincent's feelings. He can feel Vincent's pain.
Like when Vincent spills a cup of hot coffee on his hand, like Julius's character is like, oh, he flexes the same hand, like, oh, something's
that
wrong.
Hurt. Oh man. Again, I don't think the writers have ever seen twins before. Now, I'm sure that there's reports of some of this similarity stuff going on. I'm not denying that, but it's like, this is like, oh, now that I've met my brother, I could feel his feelings and read his thoughts. So,
twin powers.
Twin powers.
Ouch, my hand. It feels like someone spilled coffee on it.
Oh, I hope Vincent's okay.
I think it was Maxwell House.
Right. He like smells. He like licks his hand to see what it tastes like. Oh, full juice.
2 creams, 1 sugar.
I knew it. I have mine the same way. That's my brother. So Julius, again, he uses this telepathy. Vincent makes it to Houston, meets up with Beetroot. Like, he gets the money.
Yeah, he does. He's got the big suitcase full of money. The old classic movie suitcase of money.
Yeah, suitcase custom built to hold $5 million.
Exactly, $5 million.
And like Vincent drives to Houston, like nonstop drives to Houston to meet Beetroot directly. And seconds after the exchange, Julius is there in the garage. All right. And so it's like, oh, whatever. Again, this is when you tie up the main plot line and now put emphasis on your subplot. This is what happens.
Yeah.
It's like, and let's just fill the rest of it with B-roll footage.
Yeah.
So Mr. Webster also appears at the same time. So Webster shows up, and he because everything he wants is there now.
Yeah.
I think that was probably Webster's plan from the beginning. I have the engine. I'm going to deliver it and get the money. But now that Vincent's done the delivering for him, he can have both. I can kill Beetroot and keep the engine, and kill you and keep the money. And now I can sell the engine and get even more.
It's a win-win-win.
Right. Well, for Webster. And so, Julius shows up, and now there's a gunfight with a one gun only. Vincent squirrels himself away, like he cockroaches himself away, and he's going to leave Julius. Basically, Julius and Webster are there doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Vincent does what Vincent does. I'm just going to escape.
I was halfway to Brazil when I felt you.
Right. And so he returns. I'm going to go ahead and pay Webster to keep the money. Webster decides I'm just going to kill Yone because, again, I have a very strict "you've seen my face, you must die" policy. Yep. And but Vincent, of course, Julius drops. This is step 3. I forgot step 2 of the crisis prevention handbook was dropped at the bar. Step 3, he's saved for Webster, and it works. It confuses him, and but not before Vincent hits a lever that drops the chain that Pee-wee pulled out of the bike.
That never-ending chain.
Right. And it's like obviously never-ending because even Vincent does this whole he just watches it fall like nonstop. It's like 6 tons of chain have fallen on Webster.
Much chain?
I don't know. And it was ready to be dropped.
You know who would have loved it? Junkyard Dog.
JYD would have loved
that much chain.
And so now Julius and Vincent are in the hands of all the money and the prototype, but they return it. They return the of course, Vincent never told Julius how much money was in the briefcase.
He returned the $4 million.
Yeah, so we returned, like you said, the briefcase of $4 million. And then they used that $50,000 reward to go ahead and pay off the Klain brothers. Mm-hmm. And then they started a consulting firm.
Yep.
I don't know what they're consulting.
They're just consulting. Well, near the beginning of the film, because it was in the same office that Vincent had at the beginning, I swear I saw on the door that he was a sports agent.
Oh, he was a lot of things. Yes. There were several things.
There were several things, but sports agent was the one that.
It was there. That was one of them. There was several different things listed under there because Vincent, that's what he does for work. He has an office and he does things.
He's a professional crook.
But now he and Julius are they're a consulting firm, and I guess it's probably like a Dear Abby consulting firm. Like, mail in your questions and we'll answer them because I don't know what either one of them are good at.
No.
And so their publicity for doing the right thing has made national news. Mm-hmm. Like, despite the fact no one was looking for this prototype jet engine, but we're going to go ahead and put on the news that, hey, these guys killed a guy and turned the jet engine back in before skimming $1 million. So that newspaper makes it back to the art colony where Mom realizes my boys can put me up now because they've got the money.
Yeah, they do.
And so she first meets up with Travern, the doctor who would lied to her.
The unethical doctor.
A very unethical doctor. And she knocks him out, then tracks Vincent and Julius down because telepathy. And this is where Mama. And then we fast forward
not
to...
the mama.
Not the mama. Also voiced by Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yes,
the baby
also,
from Dinosaurs. Yeah. We're going to have listeners like, was it really? No.
Yeah, go check IMDb. It's totally there.
It's the Flintstones, only in dinosaur version. And so, but yeah, then we cut to a carnival, I guess.
Sure.
And Vincent and Mary, or Vincent and Julius marry Marnie and Linda. Mm-hmm. And because twins run in the family, they both apparently got married at the same time, conceived at the same time, gave birth at the same time, because there are now 4 identicals.
Twins beget twins.
2 sets of twins. And Grandma's there with her giant brimmed hat, and they're all happy. And we know it's happy because we're back to a soft focus lens. And so they're sharing a corn dog or something. I don't know. So all happily ever after. Do you think that they'd have to, those 4 babies are all genetically twins?
Despite having different parents?
but each parent are twins.
They're 4 of the exact same person.
Yeah. It's like they're clones.
Yeah.
That's the sequel to this movie's Clones.
Clones.
And it's about the 4 kids and where they went.
Multiplicity was also.
That's what I was gonna. If you didn't go there, I was gonna say like that movie's been made, Clones, and then those 4 grew up to be Michael Keaton and his 3 clones in Multiplicity.
I think we just came up with another movie marriage.
I think we did.
Multiplicity meets Star Wars Episode 2: Attack of the Clones.
This week we have twins, but that's it for twins. That's it for twins.
All right, folks, at this point of the show, Oz and I each give our own unique rating to the film we've been discussing, in this case, Twins. Oz, how would you rate this film?
I'm going to give this movie 4 sets of twins, because that's what this movie had.
There you go. I'm going to give this movie 6 fathers worth of DNA. Is how I'll end that sentence.
Very good. That's better than the mother's milk from Fury Road.
This would be father's milk.
It would be. Yeah.
Oh, I think we just tiptoed the PG-13 line there.
It's okay. I don't think we have any PG aged listeners.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah. Yeah, that was again, PG.
Oh, next up, folks.
There was a certain Tom Cruise bar movie I was going to reference for what we just what but I thought, nah, that's probably tiptoed a little bit too much.
Yeah, I can see exactly where it's going. Ooh, deep breath. Next up, folks, is Outside Insights, where Oz and I take our scourings of the interweb, in which we have found some unprofessional review that we found humorous, and we're going to share that humor with you. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
Can I give 2?
Oh, please.
They're short.
It's twins. You know, we have to.
That's true. I have to give 2.
You have to do 2 of
and
everything.
they're both 5-star reviews,
There
so
you go.
it fits. This first 5-star review is from Letterboxd from Kimberly Trianguloid. Yes, I did practice saying that word before I came on. I've always thought it's funny. Quick tangent. One of the professional dancers on Dancing with the Stars. We don't watch it, but we have seen it. It's like her last name is Megatroid. Like legitimately,
Megatroid.
Megatroid.
Okay.
And so this is Kimberly Trianguloid.
Okay.
June 29th of this year. I'm assuming it's a girl, but she goes, "This is literally the plot of Metal Gear Solid. Arnold is Solid Snake and DeVito is Liquid." Like, I don't know much about the plot line of the comic, or the video game, but I'm like, that's fun. But my second one is a 5-star review left on Christmas Eve 2021 by Scott Elliott. And he says, Kelly Preston, heart eye emoji, R.I.P. It's a classic.
Left on Christmas Eve.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
You know, like, not Kelly Preston R.I.P., but Kelly Preston more like, rawr. It's a classic.
It's a classic.
Like, heart eye emoji. Like, okay, yeah, you got a thing for R.I.P. It's a classic. So those are my twin reviews. How about you?
My Outside Insight is also a recent one. This comes from May 2022, which, as of this recording, is only about 6 months prior to that. This comes from the Internet Movie Base from Barry Devine. There must be a bug in IMDb's rating system. How on God's earth does this masterpiece only receive...
It's gotta be an algorithm.
Yep. 10 out of 10, by the way. Only receive a mere 6.1 out of 10. I can only imagine the amount of terrible movies that score higher. Anyway, it's a beautiful, feel-good, heartwarming, action-packed, hilarious movie that may even shed a tear. I gave it a 10 to raise the average, though it probably does deserve a 9.
I'm going to give it extra credit.
Yeah, just because I have a fondness for it.
I like how this guy, I'm looking at their IMDb page right now, with 126,000 reviews, he thinks his 110 is going to bump the average.
That's how math works.
Yeah, I'm doing my part.
Yep.
It deserves a 9, but I'm going to give it a 10 because I don't agree that it's a 6. So
out of the sheer hope I could raise it from a 6.1 to a 6.2.
Right.
Oh, okay. And the time you've all been waiting for, folks. Our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and a 1. About the movie in discussion. 1988, Ivan Reitman's Twins. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
First good, Kelly Preston.
Say no more.
I was a Kelly Preston stan, and
yes.
Yeah, she's a pretty lady.
She is.
She was a pretty lady. R.I.P.
R.I.p.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. As I was watching this with Patreon subscriber Melissa L., every time Kelly Preston was on screen, I would just turn to her and go, Kelly Preston.
which is ironic because every time Kelly Preston came on screen, my wife would just look at me to see what I was looking at.
As your eyes were moving up the TV. Because every time she was on screen, the camera started at her ankles and moved up. Every time. She has nice legs.
Like it's a guessing game on who we're going to see this time.
Oh, it's Danny DeVito's head.
It's like those Looney Tune cartoons where she's like a total butterface, and by the time they get to her face, she's all like jacked. Like it was obviously not a person, it was Looney Tunes, but it's like she was just all what. Oh, I want to say it was like a Roger Rabbit style, like they'd go up the screen looking at Jessica Rabbit. By the time they got to her face, she was looked like just this like blasted wolf or something. I don't know.
Well, there was a moment like that in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where Bob Hoskins' character is looking through Toontown and he thinks he's tracked down Jessica, and then the character turns around and she's like, "Oh!"
That might be what I'm talking about.
Maybe it was it.
It's probably but it's like every time you start on Kelly Preston's ankles, we know who you're going to end up looking at. But I was okay with that. My second good. Go ahead.
It was just more nonsense because like the whole Kelly Preston thing, it was supposed to be like you're supposed to kind of be seeing her through Julius's eyes, and it's like Julius realizing that she's an attractive woman, but it's like, okay, like we get it. Yeah. Like, you've made your point, movie. Kelly Preston is a beautiful woman.
Every time,
the camera's literally like
every time he looks at her. Every time he looks at her, he starts at her ankles.
Yeah.
Isn't that how you look at your wife? I never meet her eye to eye right away.
No, it's ankle
with my wife.
Eyes to ankle first.
Yep. And I gotta slowly raise my head to eye level. She gets tired of it. So my second good is, and I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, is seeing big name actors just take on these ridiculous roles. Like, I mean, it's 80s. I mean, that's what it was in the 80s. Is a lot of highbrow concept, but it worked. Like, you had enough people to do it, and it's like Ivan Reitman is a successful director, and DeVito and Schwarzenegger are successful actors. It's like you had the talent to work, and that's just what the 80s were. Like, you had Martin Scorsese directing music videos for Michael Jackson, and John Landis and Rick Baker doing music video. It's like you had Magic Johnson in a Michael Jackson video. It's like, it's just what you did. Like, that same video, Magic Johnson is he's like an Egyptian guard, and Eddie Murphy is like the pharaoh. It's like they just, if there was money, we'll do it.
Yep.
And so you don't see those risks taken as much today. It's almost like when you see an actor in a movie that doesn't fit their quote unquote role, it's like some indie or some straight to streaming or and it's like you feel bad because it almost feels like if they're playing out of character now, it's because they're washed up and they're trying to bounce back.
Yeah.
You do see some actors that can cross that line. Like Brad Pitt making his cameo in Deadpool. And, it's like some of them. But again, those guys are so set that, but they're also, we've talked about it before with Legends of the Fall. Brad Pitt's just a pretty character actor.
Yeah.
You know, some of these guys, they never were typecast, whereas Schwarzenegger has always been typecast. So for him, this was a huge reach for him. And DeVito, kind of the same. He was trying to break out of this taxi, you know, persona, and this was a huge reach for him. And so that's my second good, is seeing these big name actors, you know, being on board with this ridiculous concept. And my third is letting Danny DeVito get the girl.
Mm-hmm.
That made me happy.
Yep.
Like, you know, as the genetic crud cast off, you know, to see him still, you know, with no help from anyone, grow and be his own person and get the girl. Somebody who loves him and doesn't ridicule him or treat him as the joke. Because this movie treated him as the joke.
Yes.
You know, and he did a great job of still bringing a persona and humanity to the role. How about you?
My three goods, I'm going to start with some of the brother scenes. I really enjoyed with them, especially the one in the hotel where Vincent is teaching Julius how to dance.
Yeah,
so
you may have read it too, that like DeVito ad-libbed that entire thing.
I didn't read that, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I thought that was a very tender scene, and you know, it's sometimes these moments were played goofy, but I thought that one was the first time I felt like they really connected, and Vincent had let his guard down enough to allow this moment with Julius, and so I like that scene.
He let his guard down enough to care about somebody other than himself.
Yeah. My second is this is about halfway through the movie. It's right before the road trip. So Vincent's about to duck out on Julius, and he goes to back out of the driveway, and Linda and Marnie pull up, and they block unknowingly, like they block him from leaving, and it's right before all four of them agree to go on this road trip together. So Linda's talking to Vincent, and Marnie walks into the house where Julius has just gotten out of the shower, and he's just wearing nothing but a towel, and she can hear him singing. He's singing Yakety Yak again. And she walks into the bedroom, and he just kind of bursts in, into the frame from the left, and he's singing Yakety Yak, and very aggressively, and he's like Yakety Yak, Yakety Yak, and he's like pointing.
He's like flexing every muscle in his body.
It's like, and he has this like aggressive look on his face, like Yakety Yak.
He's so mad at the yak.
It wasn't supposed to be funny, but I just.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
He's just
because he thinks he's in there by himself, so he's really into.
He's really into Yakety Yak to the point that he's screaming it and aggressively pointing.
How many times do you think he listened to Yakety Yak from the South Pacific to L.A.?
Just had it on repeat. Just had it on a loop.
That's all. Right.
And my last one is as I was watching this with Patreon subscriber Melissa L.
Yeah.
Right towards the end, when it's kind of like the happy ending is coming, and they're having these final character moments, and I have Patreon subscriber Melissa L's consent to share this.
Okay. So
they're having these tender moments, and they've all found love. Particularly Vincent has found love. And I look to my left, and there's Patreon subscriber Melissa L with tears in her eyes. Aww. She was moved by by Vincent finding love. Again, he's been searching for 35 years. It's just been this void in his life. Doesn't excuse everything he's done, but it definitely explains how he kind of became the person he became, and he found love. And Patreon subscriber Melissa L found that very moving, to the point that she shed a tear.
And this isn't the first time she's seen it, so it's probably not the first time she shed that tear.
Yes. So
that specific tear, yes, but
but having that moment with Patreon subscriber Melissa L via twins,
was nice.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. Oz, what are your two bads?
The whole jet engine subplot, it just
yeah.
It was only there as a plot device to get Arnold to be able to be Arnold.
Yeah.
Really. Even though he didn't go full, physical, but just I was fine with the Klain brothers. That alone could have been enough, of them tracking them through the Southwest as well. But just the whole, like, we found this jet engine, and it's just, as a plot device, it just whatever, my second one is the whole, like, bar and dancing scene was a little cringe.
Yeah,
like
it was.
just
yeah.
It just shoehorned in there to pad the running time. It didn't, like, again, the Klain brothers had no reason to find them where they were. It's just like that whole scene was really just to get them to be goofy and dance together.
Yes.
And
well, and immediately prior to that was the scene with one of my goods when they're in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And Vincent's teaching Julius how to dance. And I'll add on to that and saying that and this was one of my possible huzz, was that a waltz is in 3/4 time, and Vincent is teaching Julius how to waltz, and they cut to this bar that this bar band that just happens to be playing a song in 3/4 time, which is not like a typical like pacing. That's not how, like, most rock music works, and it just happens to be in 3/4 time so that they can.
Thankfully, they did.
Waltz.
Yeah. And even Julius is like, I waltzed. Like, bucket list.
Wait till I tell the island folk.
I can't wait to tell Mama. Oh, man. All right, those are my two bads. Okay. What are your two bads?
My two bads. I got several possibilities here. Let's go with the first one is it goes to the sequence in the hotel where Marnie is now in the room with Julius, and Julius he sleeps on the floor. That's his thing. He's always slept on the floor. He finds, like, these beds to be uncomfortable, so he sleeps on the floor. And again, he doesn't quite know what to do. Like, Marnie's there. He clearly is incredibly nervous. He's not the one initiating any kind of intimacy.
Right.
And Marnie, she's trying to kind of make her moves, but she's also trying not to be too aggressive at the same time, because she doesn't want to, like, spook him, because she knows how naive he is. And so she goes and lays in the bed for a moment. And then she gets up and she goes, "This bed is lumpy." This bed is lumpy.
Right. So I wanted to jump in because that always bothered me too.
It always bothered me too.
It's like I'm Kelly Preston, but now I'm like Elizabethan England for one word, and now I'm back to being back in the moment. Like, this bed is lumpy.
And I took it as, like, pouty 11-year-old. This bed's lumpy.
Right. I took it as like, Betty Davis is monologuing. Oh dear, this bed is lumpy.
This bed is lumpy.
It's bothered me for a very long time.
Oh yeah, so the lumpy bed is
lumpy.
One of my bads. Oh God, I got so many possibilities for my other one here.
Oh, I did too. I had a lot as well.
Let's just go with the brother to brother song and montage sequence while he's using his twin powers he's using his twin powers in Houston, the fourth largest city in America, by the way, Houston, Texas.
To find his brother,
to track his brother. So the song "Brother to Brother" is playing over this terrible montage of him, like trying to retrace his brother's steps.
Yeah.
It's just, again, cringy and just bad. It
is bad, yeah. Ugh. But again, they momentarily wrapped up the main plot lines, so this is what we're left with.
That's the left.
I left off my list completely, but I had potentially I couldn't decide if I wanted to put it in the good or the bad column. Was only because you brought up songs. Was the Little Richard song "Twins" over the end credits?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if I should put it in the good or bad column, so I just left it off. Like, it's a terrible song, but it is Little Richard, and I know all the lines to it. Like, even when they, like, that's another one where my wife looked at me when the credits start rolling and I start singing along to it. Twins united outside and in, and she just looked. She just looks at me. She's like, "How do you know?
Who are you?"
I'm like, I don't know how I know these words. Just, it must be telepathy. Like, just go with it.
Yeah.
Right. But she just looks at me. But I get that look most of the time anyway. So
that's default look.
Yeah.
Although it would have been even more impressive had she turned to you and she just goes, "And twins."
Exactly. She picks up the second verse. I would have been like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, I would have. Yeah, that would have been very impressive.
I was thinking about as I was kind of thinking of ways to approach this movie, and I was like, what? Because sometimes I do this. Like, if this was my movie, what would my movie marriage be? And I would have ended it with "and twins."
Oh man, yeah, movie marriage was tough this month.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that leaves me with the right?
Oh, I haven't done.
Okay.
Yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, your
That was just my aside.
I'm sorry. That was the aside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
my is if science was obviously ignoring ethics to create Julius and Vincent,
yes,
and then create the misconception amongst all three of them, why did they let ethics get in the way when they could have just got, quote unquote, gotten rid of the genetic gunk?
Yes.
I mean, obviously for the plot of the movie, but it's like if you're in that lab and you've got the one you wanted and the one you don't, and ethics are out the window, then why didn't you just get rid of the problem then?
Yeah.
Instead of like, well, let's ship him off to LA to an orphanage.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. Yeah. I guess there's some ethical lines are worth crossing.
I guess so, but... So what's your
My and I had several. One of my possible was what kind of first name is Beetroot?
It's a Texan.
Yeah.
It's a Texan name.
It's
familial.
Yes. It's an old family name. Long line of beetroots.
Exactly. Yeah, the suspenders.
I say.
My name's Beetroot.
Beetroot the 7th.
Right? Thank you, Foghorn.
Yeah, exactly. I love anytime I can break into a good Foghorn Leghorn. I say.
It's Savannah.
Oh, my peaches. My is and you'd mentioned this a couple of times. Mr. Webster's bit is that, like, if you see my face, that I have to kill you. Like that's no one's ever seen my face. However, he lets the Klain brothers live.
Right.
So, the Klain brothers show up at Vincent's house where Mr. Webster is to find Vincent, and he shoots a couple of them in the feet, but then he goes. He doesn't
leave.
He doesn't do that. Well, you've seen my face bit.
Right.
So which way is it, Mr. Webster?
Yeah. It's like, do you allow the people at the drive-up windows to live?
Yeah.
It's a murdering spree across like Carl's Jr.'s.
He has like a telehealth doctor's appointment through Zoom.
He shoots the screen. He's bought so many computers through his days. Right? Yeah, he massacre at the DMV every 4 years.
That or he has a lot of fake mustaches.
I guess so, yeah.
All right, folks. Well, that was 1988's Twins.
Next week is all yours. What are we wrapping up November with?
Well, this is the rare 5-weeker, Oz. And again, it's 80 Schwarzenegger. So there are, to me, this is the penultimate 80 Schwarzenegger film, and that, folks, is 1987's Predator. We are going to share this with you. Oz, Predator is in my top 10 favorite movies.
I know it is. It is a great film.
It is amazing. I started watching it already earlier today just because I couldn't wait to get to it.
Have you seen it before?
I haven't. I have not. It's in my.
But I've still put it in my top.
It's 10. In my top, just based on reputation.
Well, you've only seen 9 movies, so by default, this has to be there.
Correct.
You're really good, by the way, at carrying your weeks of the show, having not seen the films we're discussing.
I just do a little research on the old Wikipedia, and that's
what it is. That's what Patreon subscriber Melissa L's for. She watches them and just tells me.
She watches them. I read her emotions as she watches them, then.
I haven't seen them either. But I have a twin, so I let my twin watch them, and then I just use telepathy.
You use your twin powers,
right, to know what's going on.
To deduce the plot of the movie.
Mm-hmm. I've never met that twin.
No, his name is Zoe.
Yep, it is.
So yeah, we got Predator on the way. You will be in for a treat next week, folks.
I love Predator. I almost feel a little blasphemous though, because like we've watched 4 Arnold movies thus far, and they're endearing. We enjoy the Arnold movies, but we also kind of make fun of the Arnold movies. I'm gonna feel a little blasphemous if we like start ripping on Predator.
Well, I mean, eventually we'll have to come up with 2 bads and a huh.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
not that we were ripping on him necessarily.
No,
but
well, the movie like Predator, I mean, there are some bads. Like
yeah. There's I already identified a couple of things. Yeah, like some of Jesse Ventura's language, for instance.
Yeah, and the way they treat women and things of such. So I mean, there's ways to do it, but
there are
they're not necessarily. Yeah, but still, it's still Predator.
It's Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks,
it would be tough for me if somebody were to line them up and say if Predator and Commando were on the same or were on different channels at the same time. For me, it would be I know it wouldn't be tough for you.
No, it'd be tough. For me, it'd be Predator 100% of the time.
It'd be tough for me.
Well, as you mentioned a couple weeks ago, you grew up on Commando, so
I did. It would be tough. So, but I think Predator's probably a little longer running time. Plus, commercials are never on at the same time, so I'll be able to go back and forth.
There you go.
So 2 TVs are for living this big, rich podcast life we've got.
Thanks to Patreon subscriber Melissa Ellen Don S.
And Don S. Yeah, I now have two subscriptions.
You got
Comcast.
2 13-inch tube TVs next to each other. Right. The old VHS in TV.
Yep, big one.
Yep.
So, well, that wraps up another week of Let's Talk About Flicks. We are glad that you joined us. If you haven't figured out already, we are on social media. You can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and what's left of Twitter. I just saw that Elon Musk has decided he's going to let former President Donald Trump back on Twitter.
Oh, he is? Because, I had not seen that. Oh, that's wonderful.
Like, as we're sitting here, that rolled across my news on my computer here. So that's good. At least Twitter's becoming a more wholesome place.
Yep.
For people to share their ideas.
Free speech wins again.
Yeah, it does. So I really think I've never seen a person. Well, obviously, I've never seen a person spend $44 billion on something they seem to just want to destroy. But it's like, we've seen Elon Musk start and run extremely profitable, well-run companies. And then he buys Twitter and decides, I've always wanted to flush something down the toilet so massive. Like, this is the Randy Marsh football turd episode. It's like he spends $44 million on Twitter, and I scratch in my head as to why. You clearly hate the platform. But hey, whatever. So,
yep. So we'll have that to deal with.
Yeah, but we won't. We're going to move on and talk about Predator. Speaking of former President Donald Trump, no, kidding. If you're a Trump listener, don't leave us for that. But if you are, whatever. So, with that being said, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we will see you next week.